Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, today I want to talk to you about something I'm going to call good GM Fiat. How's that for a term, huh? And a lot of times I hear people talk, and they'll talk about not liking Game Master Fiat, DM Fiat, and I believe what they mean in most cases is they don't like it when the let me make sure I wrote something down here that was really clever, and they use their kind of power, or when the rules are a little bit obscure, to force things to go the way they want, as opposed to and removing like any kind of player agency, as some people would say. Um, so they kind of, they're running, they're hedging their bets. They're making the game go in the direction they'd like to go, whether you'd like it or not. And so that's what they're going to, I believe what they mean a lot of times by GM Fiat. And often these people will advocate systems where the rules are much more spelled out. So they're trying to remove as much of the possibility of that happening, because no, you can't make this mechanic or this probability or whatever it is on the fly or interpretation, because it's already there in the rules. So they prefer that sort of system to kind of I've said this before, but kind of protect them from like the game master. However, I had to go with something a little bit different. And I remember, I believe it was in a Rupture and Culture. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a Hangouts conversation between Runeslinger and Samuel G, where they're talking about Tom's game and the idea there's this guy down the street, Tom. You want to go play in Tom's game. This is back in the day, because he's a great game master. And so everybody try to go play in Tom's game. What's so great about Tom's game? Well, what's so great about Tom's game a lot of times was Tom. And what was it? And I've certainly played with game masters like this, where they brought a certain creativity to the table, and you didn't you weren't worried about them taking away or forcing the game to go as they wanted. It was more what I would call what I would call a good GM Fiat in this particular case would be where the rules are a little obscure, where you're not quite sure. They figure out what's logical, and that would be their, I guess, game master Fiat at that moment. If the rules are silent, okay, what would be logical? What will be the logical interpretation here? Do we need to roll dice or not? What would be a logical possibility? Not because they want to serve their own purpose, or I want you to go this way, or for this particular thing to happen, but more like they are, what's logical for that world? I guess we'd call it simulationist, if for lack of a better term. And there was a discussion, somebody posted in the RPG Brigade recently. I wish I could remember who it was, and I should have written that down, but I did not, so sorry. They posted something about it's not the players don't play the game, the players play the GM. And a lot of people posted all kinds of good stuff. But I kind of posted, it took me two tries to get it right. But, I play my character. The game master plays the world. The dice determine the outcomes, but also then the rules are the laws of physics. They let you know what the laws of physics are. What are the laws for that world? And sometimes, you run into a situation as a game master where there's not a rule, or they're a little silent, or a little ambiguous. And then if you're a good game master, you kind of use some fiat, for lack of a better word, to determine what would be logical, what would be internally consistent at that moment. It doesn't serve your purpose, it doesn't serve the player's purposes, it just makes sense. Because somebody said to me recently, games should make sense. So I really kind of dig that idea of being good GM Fiat. And the other thing too, as we're talking about something like a good game master, where they have that creativity, where they have that ability to keep players engaged, where they're able to, when they have to exercise their fiat, come up with a ruling or rule that's internally consistent. They're fair. A lot of times, a system, and this is not an anti-complex games rant once again, but sometimes that's not necessarily duplicatable. Like you can't just put a set of rules or a system in front of somebody and duplicate Tom. Often the way Tom got the way he was, outside of say raw talent, was practice. A lot of times, Tom's game, the feel of Tom's game can't be duplicated by the system, but by experience. By doing it poorly until he can do it well, by trial and error, by asking other people for help. Like we do here, and getting input. So, yeah, that's my take on good GM Fiat. Probably not all the thoughts I have on it, but all the thoughts are coming to me at this particular point or in time. So what do you think about all that? Is there any such thing as good GM Fiat? Is it Fiat at all? What the heck is it? Have I lost my marbles? Have a good one.